Lesson 82, solving multi-step compound inequalities. So I'm just going to show you using an example. If we have 5x minus 6 is less than 4, or 3x plus 9 is greater than 18. This is a disjunction because it's using the or word, and we can solve for x just like we would if there were an equal sign. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. We have 5x is less than 10. Then we're going to divide by 5, and we get x is less than 2. On this other part, we're going to subtract 9 from both sides and get 3x is greater than 9. Divide by 3, and you get x is greater than 3. One thing you want to make sure that you remember is that if you divide or multiply by a negative number, you've got to flip the inequality. So if we want to graph this, we have open circles on both 2 and on 3. X is less than 2 means we're going to go to the left, and x is greater than 3 means we're going to go to the right. So in between 2 and 3 is not a solution to this compound inequality. So here's an example using a conjunction where we have an and statement. Since this is a factor, since 2 is a factor, you can divide everything by 2. So we have negative 5 is less than or equal to 6x minus 4, which is less than or equal to 32. Now we find where the x is, and we want to undo the subtract 4, which is add 4, but we have to add the 4 on both the left and the far right. So we have negative 1 is less than or equal to 6x is less than or equal to 36. Then we're going to divide everything by 6, and we get negative 1/6 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 6. So when you're doing these conjunctions, if you end with greater than symbols in between, so if we had negative 11 greater than or equal to x is greater than negative 3, this is not an and statement, because even though negative 11 is less than negative 3, we have greater than symbols. We cannot have greater than symbols. So we need to pick it up and flip it over, but then negative 3 will be bigger. So we have to split it up completely and read it from the x. So we have x is less than or equal to negative 11, or x is greater than negative 3. So this ends up being a disjunction. So we're just going to put a little note here. We cannot have greater than or equal to symbols in a conjunction. So if we were to end with something that looked like a conjunction, but the numbers were not in order, least to greatest. So let's say 10 is before x and 3 is after. You have to have the smallest number first. So in this case, we have to break it up again. So let's see, this smallest number, largest. So these need to be in that order, smallest to largest. And since it's not, we have to separate it. So we're going to start at the x and read it to the left. So x is greater than 10, or, and then we're going to start at x and read it toward the right. So x is less than or equal to 3. So this becomes an or statement or a disjunction. That's the end of the lesson.